Now, they say that behind every great man, not saying I'm a great man by any stretch of the imagination, there is a woman. And behind every great woman, there's probably another woman. But the woman in my life, the lady to whom I owe much of the success, and success, of course, is relative, in my life and in my career, is the lovely Audrie Woodhouse. All of us, I think, from time to time, need that little voice, that person who we can turn to when, you know, we feel like giving it all up, when we just stray off the path, when we lose a bit of focus, someone with whom we can share our thoughts, our ambitions, our desires, our objectives, but somebody who can just keep us in check from time to time. That kind of the person, the strength of character that sometimes we lack, sometimes the person who just keeps us on the straight and narrow, or sometimes someone who just tells us off a bit when we need a bit of a telling off, and goodness knows, I need that on plenty of occasions. So it gives me great pleasure today to introduce the lovely Audrie Woodhouse. Audrie and I have been working together for quite some time. Audrie has also helped a number of individuals that have participated in the Sandro Forte Success Masterclass. Every single one, to a man and woman, have said how extraordinary she is, and I can only attest to that fact. So I thought what I'd do is get her here today and to share some of her insights into what makes her such a successful personal development coach. So Audrie, welcome to the StreamYard video live. No pressure, probably more pressure on me than on you, but let's start, if we may, and by all means feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself when you answer this first and probably most obvious of questions. What makes a great coach? And I guess part B to that question would be, what do people look for in a coach?
First of all, before we go any further, what an introduction. Thank you so much. I'm extremely humbled to be working with you and everybody that comes into contact with the masterclass. It's just such a wonderful experience working with you and all of your colleagues and connections in relation to that. When I think about what makes a good coach, I struggle to come up with one answer that fits all, because it's a personal thing. Of course, it's professional. It's extremely important and vital in terms of the outcomes that we reach together. But every person deserves the right coach for them. And often people will say to me, well, how will I know who is the right coach for me? I think personal recommendations and introductions are brilliant, because usually in that way, what we do is we tend to find like-minded people, because we tend to migrate towards and socialize with people who are very similar to us. And we can identify in people that we really care about what they might need and who they might need to help them in terms of a coaching relationship. And so often I think when you get two people together, client and coach, that's when you get who are aligned, that's when you get the best results. And that is the best coach. Often people will say to me, well, surely you need to know a little bit about my profession in order to help me. That is mentoring. So a really good coach will know what it is to coach someone really well, help them get what they really want from a session without an agenda. Often agenda comes when you're mentoring. That's a different thing altogether. A coach is absolutely there for the client and they meet them equally.
Audrie, do you think it's a case that, I'm speaking from my own experience a little bit, but also from the feedback we've had from lots of those that have attended the masterclass that have now had the chance to work with you directly one-to-one. Do you think it's a case, do you believe fundamentally that all of us possess the ability to be successful? It's that word again, and I know it's relative, because success can be achieving something that we want to do tomorrow, for example. Success can be the achievement of a goal that might be in the future. It might be unrealistic. But what I'm asking fundamentally is, do you think that everyone has an innate natural ability to succeed? What a coach allows them to do, or what a coach encourages them to do, is to find all those answers within themselves rather than to prescribe answers to questions. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Okay, so I feel that there was a question and then a yes. So what I'm going to say is, of course, I think that everybody has the ability to succeed. Of course they do. And you did exactly the right thing there when you said success is relative. It's different for all of us. And thank goodness that it is. I think the role of the coach is really important in this success story. What we want to do in our lives is ensure that we run our own race, that we identify what success really means for us, honestly. And sometimes that takes a while. So we'll start a relationship with a coach and we'll say we want something. We want the lifestyle, we want the money in the bank, we want the status, whatever it might be. And then as we carry on through the journey, through some really deliberate and accurate questioning and provocation from your coach, you might have a light bulb moment where you realize, actually, that's not what I want for me. That isn't what success really looks like for me. It really looks like this. And then we know we're onto something. We're on a golden track then, because that is when we can really think about the actions you want to take to get there. And you're more likely to take that action when you really know what your success looks like and run your own race, not competing with anyone else. And that's really difficult to do in this world at the moment, because we've got so much stimulus around us telling us that we should want certain things and we should desire certain things. And what we want to do in the coaching relationship is strip away all of that noise and really get down to what the individual really wants. And then it's really powerful.
Being provocative, I use the word that you, just to pick up on the word that you've used, being provocative and challenging and stretching people, is that an important part of the coaching process? And what do you say to people who say, oh, that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, I'm not sure I do want to be stretched? And I guess another part B, sorry, but just while I'm thinking about it, is coaching for everybody?
There are different coaches for different kinds of people. And there are different styles of coaching, even though I think it's really important that, a coach is trained and they're fully aware of what coaching really is. There are different types. Is coaching for everyone? I think it is, but at times it might not be. At times it might be that coaching really isn't working. Usually that comes when the individual is not ready to have a discussion about how they move forward differently, about how they accept they might need to change certain modes of practice in order to get what they want, where they need to reach a level of self-awareness in order to make change and learn and grow to get to where they want to be, but they're not ready to do that yet. Then coaching might not be the right thing for them at that time. And that's absolutely fine. I think you were talking about provocation. So I've got a bit of a cheeky smile on my face because I'm known for being provocative and asking difficult questions in order for us to make some discovery. And sometimes I work with clients and they want to move quickly, and I'll ask more provocative questions. Other clients want to move more gently, and I'll take a step back. What I always want to do is meet my client in the middle, but I am known for just sort of asking a few testing questions just to sort of get a bit of a response and see what comes up from that.
And what, I guess one question that springs to mind, because I get asked this a lot, what are the common mistakes, if there's such a thing? What are the common mistakes, Audrey, that you see people making in life and business? Is it inertia? Is it going off down the wrong track, losing focus? Is there a kind of a commonality amongst your clients typically that you have to try and address on a more regular basis than perhaps we might think about?
Yes, I mean, you've listed some of the things there. And I think when we talk about what are the kind of mistakes people make, I actually think it's related to a time in our life, our circumstances, what is going on in the world as well. These external factors can really affect our behaviors and how we move forward. So sometimes it's not always down to the individual. Sometimes there's a bigger picture and it's more complex. But I do think the reason why we might have inertia or why we might lack motivation is based upon something that I mentioned just now. If we're not running our own race, if we're not being authentic to ourselves, if we're doing what we think we should be doing rather than what we want to do, we will meet resistance internally and externally. We might find that we want to procrastinate. We might find that we'll find every reason not to do something. There have been times in my life where I've really wanted something, and all of a sudden my house has become incredibly tidy and clean because I will do anything in my power not to take the action. That's really, really, it's useful to have a coach at that point, because the coach will say to you, so why would you rather do that than go towards the thing you say you really want? What's going on for you there? And a coach will help unpack that. We learn, we grow, we move forward in a different way. I think another big mistake at the moment, which is a sign of our times, is lack of time. Time taken to really think about your next step. If we can make really deliberate choices about how we move forward, obviously the outcome and the impact is going to be greater. But we tend to not give ourselves time for that. And I really think a place of calm, a place to really talk out our ideas, our insecurities, our feelings about why things aren't happening, or even celebrate the really great things that are, and know that in that time when things are going really well, we still need to be taking action and learning. If we don't do that, we tend to find that our growth and our development and our journey towards success is much slower. So I think taking time at the moment is so important. And it's a mistake that many of us are making. I'm not going to
ask you a question now. I'm going to make a statement, and I'm going to ask you to either confirm or deny. A lot of people approach us, you as well, you're very successful at what you do. But I think anybody that is perceived to be successful, and again, it's relative, they kind of approach others that they see as being successful, people they aspire to become or to be like, or to perhaps achieve the same level of financial security, whatever the measure is. And they automatically assume that success for them has been linear, that nothing ever goes wrong, that there are no bumps in the road, that we don't all suffer our emotional stresses and our family issues and, money worries and all the other things that go with it. So I guess by way of a statement, I guess what I'm looking for here is your endorsement of the fact that all too often people assume that success comes easily to some and much more it's much more challenging for others. But we all start from the same place, don't we? I'm going to make mention of the fact that you are very challenging, you are very provocative, but that is to your credit and to my benefit, because ultimately, if we don't hear our authentic self speaking back to us, pushing the boundaries and stretching us, then we don't achieve the things that we're capable of achieving. So any comments in relation to that statement? Am I wide of the mark? Is that your experience too? Because what I'm trying to do here is give people a sense that coaching is really accessible, that it is, we all start from exactly the same place. We've all got exactly the same challenges. And ultimately, someone like you, with all of your skills, knowledge and experience, help people to overcome those bumps in the road.
Yes. And I think it's important to say that coaching applies at whatever level you're at. You might be top of the pile CEO, or you might be a member of the team further down the line. And the coaching principles apply. They are the same. And actually, they're quite basic. It's about reflecting upon where you are right now, what we can learn and what we can do next to move forward. And of course, yes, it's never linear. It's like a ball of string. And I talk about that ball of string all of the time when I'm out meeting groups from different ages as well. I love actually speaking to teenagers who are about to start out in their lives post-education and talking to them about, they might have expectations that it will be a straight line, that their role models and people they aspire to be like might appear like they've got it all and it's all really easy, but it never is. keep your eye on the end goal, but accept that there are going to be many, many different crossroads, paths that we need to take, and that sometimes we need to unravel that ball of string that we've got into to straighten it out and get back on the path again. We have to approach this as human beings. Bottom line, it doesn't matter how important we are to a team, to an organization, to our own business, to our relationships, whatever it may be. We have to approach it as human beings, be kind to ourselves, and take the approach of everything is a learning process, and it will feed into our success in the long run. Even if it's a little bit wiggly and windy, we will get there.
I have to say, I'd still be a very tight-knit ball of wool or string, I think you used as an analogy, if it were not for somebody like you unpacking it all on our regular coaching sessions. So a little secret that we'll let everyone into, if that's okay. From 2024, the masterclasses will feature Audrie because the feedback has been so good from the one-to-one sessions she's been running outside of masterclass that we've now found a way to integrate Audrie's work into the masterclass. But obviously, the option for those to continue working with Audrie post masterclass. So apart from seeing you on the masterclass in 2024, Audrie, how do people get hold of you should they have any questions, want to dip their toe in the water, try out coaching, or for any other general inquiries?
Well, for those that obviously are experiencing the masterclass, you'll get to meet me. We do a success coaching group as well, as an aside to anybody who wants to focus on coaching, to put some of those things they've learned in the masterclass in place. They can join in the success coaching group. They can contact me directly. I'm on LinkedIn. If you look for Audrie Woodhouse, you'll find me very easily, and on my website as well, audriewoodhouse.com. And there you can book a free call with me and have a chat for 20 minutes. We can have a really good chat about your needs and what you need. And sometimes those conversations go on for quite a while as well. But take that step, make the contact, and start communicating and build a relationship with someone like me. And we'll see where we go with the coaching.
And that's Audrie, Audrie, just for those of you who are confused. And there's plenty of ways to spell Audrie. So Audrie is the version you're looking for. Audrie, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully an insight or two for those who have been kind enough to tune in. There will, of course, be lots more interviews like this one with predominantly Success Masterclass attendees sharing their own views, visions, thoughts, and feedback on the process they've been through, not just with myself, but with people like Audrie as well. So Audrie, thank you once again. Thank you all for joining us. Look forward to catching up with you very soon.